Let's go over to Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Offices. Robert listens to us every week. He actually called me this past week and asked, because he's going to be out of town next week, he says he needs an answer to this question, Chuck. He owns a single family home. It's a rental property. He currently is in a midterm of a 1 year lease with the renter, but he wants to know, can he sell the house and terminate the lease with the renter when he sells, even there are still months, at least maybe 5 or 6 months left on the lease? Chuck?
Quick answer is yes. He can sell anytime he wants as long as he can find a buyer. But no, he cannot change that lease. That lease is in force. Anybody that buys the property subject to that lease.
And it's funny. I told him that. I said, listen, I'm not an attorney. And I, I would tell you, this is what I think Chuck is going to say. There's no way to get around that. The lease goes with the property until it ends.
It does.
Correct? Yeah.
Yeah. We all have heard that possession is 9/10 of the law. Well, the fact is, when you lease a property, you've given over possession. And in reality, possession is a vast part of the ownership of real estate. So you've given over an interest in the property. The lease just can't disappear.
Let me throw this at you. If it's a verbal agreement, and I don't think this is, Robert didn't say that, but I'm just forward projecting here. Let's just say it's a handshake and, okay, you got a year lease at this amount of money. Can you break that because it's verbal?
No. Verbal lease is just as good as long as it can be performed in the space of 1 year.
Oh.
So a verbal lease for 2 years is no good. Okay. But a verbal lease for 1 year is just as good. Now it gets into proof. If one party says, oh, no, this is what we agreed to,
Yeah.
As I always say, a short pencil is better than a long memory. Yeah, verbal lease, as long as it can be performed under the space or in the space of a year, is just as valid.
We ought to put a book together of Chuckisms.
I agree. That was amazing.
What's the nacho? What's the radiator nachos?
Radiator nachos. That's the peeling paint, the lead chips on the old time radiators. You don't eat radiator nachos.
You don't eat any lead-based paint. But yeah, so there's just a little book in there somewhere.